Hi Dreamer, welcome back to another video of Edible Eats. Oh, the popping. It's like, I am back in the UK and per somebody's request, they wanted me to taste Cadbury chocolate from the UK. And so, of course, I had to try all of it. So I walked over to the nearest Tesco and I bought every piece of Cadbury chocolate that I could get my hands on. Unfortunately, I missed out on anything Easter themed, so I was a little sad about that. I will continue to look while I'm here in the UK, see if I can find anything left over. And if I do, then you can definitely see that in my shorts. So subscribe so you don't miss that if I post it. I think I'm tasting 17 different types of Cadbury chocolate in this video. I also tasted a couple on shorts. So after you watch this video, make sure you check those out. Let's jump in. This is going to be pretty rapid fire, so it is not an hour long. I thought we would start the Cadbury journey with the OG, or at least what I perceive as the OG, and that's the original regular milk chocolate. The melting point of Cadbury, I feel like, is so low compared to American chocolate. Like, it's already melting all over me and I just got started. Just on its own, I feel like Cadbury chocolate bars are just too creamy. Some people might be like, is there any such thing? But I really feel like it just kind of melts and doesn't leave you with any kind of satisfying taste or texture. I do think it leaves a pleasant taste in your mouth. I wish it wasn't quite so melty though. It makes it very difficult to eat. I can't imagine giving this to children. It's such a different experience than an American like Hershey bar, which is probably what I'm going to compare a lot of. Hershey's chocolate definitely has much more of like a snap and it's definitely like harder. This definitely has a more chocolate flavor than I would say the Hershey does. Hershey has a taste of its own. Would I buy this over a high quality chocolate bar that I can buy in the US? No. I prefer the ones from like, I feel like it's Lindent. Probably saying that wrong. I'll put it on screen. I really like those. This I wouldn't prefer over those, but I do understand that this is cheaper chocolate for like the UK audience, something like what Hershey's would be to us. So do I think this is better than like Hershey's? I would probably eat the Hershey's over this. I think it would be less messy to eat as a snack, and I don't really prefer this texture. Taste for taste, I think it's really just preference in my opinion. Let's move on though, because they get incredibly more interesting from here. Next up, I have the caramel filled chocolate bar. This might be more iconic than just the normal non-filled one, at least to me. Ooh, the smell coming off of this one is great. It's already kind of broken up for me, so that's convenient. The chocolate on this is very different than the chocolate on just the normal chocolate bar. It even looks completely different. It's hard to tell on film, but the caramel filled one is significantly shinier than the normal chocolate bar. And it does seem like the melting point of the caramel filled one might be a little bit higher. It doesn't seem to be melting on me quite as bad. I love the caramel one. I really think it adds something, normal sweetness that I'm used to my chocolate in the US. It definitely adds that bit of sweetness. I think the caramel really complements the Cadbury chocolate, and I think this is really a home run. I don't think I'd change it at all. I think it's perfect. Maybe a 10 out of 10. Next, Freddo. Let me know if that is wrong. Is it Frito? It obviously is this little frog's name. Individually wrapped, potentially to give to children. Cute little guy. Aw, and he's on the chocolate bar. Aww. Cute, but I think it's just the normal Cadbury chocolate in a character form. See thoughts from before. Only okay. Maybe 6 out of 10 because the frog's cute. Next, I have a whole series of bag chocolates. First up is Dairy Milk Buttons Twisted. Okay, looks to be a mixture of white chocolate and dark chocolate. Oh, there's a lot of them in here. Really pretty wafer candy. Oh no. I don't like the combination of the chocolates. It's also strangely thin. I don't know what this reminds me of, but it reminds me of something in the US that like our older generation really likes. Oh, but I don't like this at all. It doesn't really taste like chocolate. Maybe it's the white chocolate kind of mellowing it out. Just kind of tastes like sugar. It's also just too thin to really enjoy. These were bad. 3 out of 10. Next bag treat, caramel nibblers. Oh, I'm sorry, I added the R. Caramel nibbles. Well, that's cute. The chocolates in these bags must all come in this thin wafer form. Because they're filled, you almost have to do them in just one bite. I don't really enjoy the thin waferness of these. And really I'm using kind of wafer wrong. It's just that is like the shape that they kind of remind me of. But they are like poppable, but it's just isn't my preference on like eating chocolate that way. I almost feel like they're too small. Maybe if I eat like 2 at a time, let's try that. Better. You get much more of a saturation of flavor that way. Just don't really care for like these shapes. But the caramel and chocolate still hits. Maybe 7 out of 10. Couple more bags of these buttons left. Next, buttons with orange. I know you love your orange flavored chocolate over here, but I gotta tell you, this is not my favorite flavor combination. Chocolate and orange is such an acquired taste. It is not for me. The orange flavor in these buttons is very strong. There is no chance that you're going to taste much of the chocolate. For that, as an orange treat, I actually don't think it's that bad. But I definitely get the chocolate orange flavor at the very end, and I don't care for that. These are a good intro if you're trying to like chocolate and orange and you want an introduction, then I kind of recommend these. If you know that you don't like chocolate and orange, then I definitely don't. For me, these are a no-go, 3 out of 10. Next treat is something I've never seen before. It's these Caramilk buttons. The back says white chocolate with caramelized milk powder. I have no idea what these are gonna be like. Ooh, it smells like slightly burnt caramel. Ooh, I hope these taste as good as they smell. When I first put it in my mouth, the first impression taste was almost just a slightly burnt or overly sweet, but whenever you got into it, you got that really nice buttery caramel flavor, really pure, slightly toasted, wonderful. The end taste is much more white chocolate based, which isn't 100% my preference, but there is a little bit of caramel still remaining. These are pretty addictive. I could definitely see taking these to like a movie theater with me for like a treat. These are one of the ones that I wish I could get back in the US. Almost nothing wrong with them. Solid 9 out of 10. As promised, I'm getting much more exciting as I go along. These ones are Cadbury Crunchy Rocks. I've never had anything like this either. The back says it's cornflakes and honeycomb. I'm definitely getting the feeling that the bags have more of your snack sized items, which I think is kind of fun. It's a toothbreaker. It's hard. What do I think of this? Wow. So many thoughts on these. Sensory wise, these give me the heebie-jeebies. Whenever I bite into what I believe is the honeycomb, it kind of like crinkles and it's also hard at the same time. Ooh, I don't like it. If it was just cornflakes, then maybe. Or it could be that the honeycomb's fine and it's the cornflakes that give that crinkly kind of soft, but also really crunchy texture as you're biting down. Taste-wise, they just taste pretty well like milk chocolate, maybe a little bit sweeter from the honeycomb, which I do like. I do like the taste of these better than the normal Cadbury chocolate. Texture-wise, maybe the worst things that I've had besides those beginning twisted buttons that I had. Those weren't any good texture-wise either, but these might be like worse because these almost make me cringe. Somebody that really likes crunchy sweets might really like these, but I definitely do not. Because the flavor was okay, I'm gonna give them a 2 out of 10, but they're not for me. Next up, we have a take on the Airy Kisses, and I definitely had some kind of airy chocolate last time I did a taste test and was here. Speaking of taste tests, I am testing out UK Sweets Part 2. So subscribe and wait for that video to come out. It's coming once I recover from filming this one. I can't remember what I thought about the airy chocolate though, so I got these. This is definitely, I don't believe what I tried last time. I definitely didn't try it in a bag. I do like the poppable nature of these. I think these under-deliver. You can't really tell that they're supposed to be airy. The airy chocolate that we have in America is better than this because you can really tell texture-wise that the air bubbles are in there. So compared to those, I think the ones that we have are better. This does make the chocolate less dense, which is the whole point. So would I prefer this over a normal Cadbury chocolate bar? I would. But I still think some of the other treats are better. 6 out of 10. Since you made it halfway, why don't you comment your favorite Cadbury treat below? And any other UK snacks that you think I should try. Now moving on to Cadbury Eclairs. And almost the last thing I have in a bag. These look really different than anything I've tried so far. These are caramels with chocolate in the center. I've never seen anything like this in the States. Really original. I think this is cool. I couldn't bite it, so I had to stick the whole thing in my mouth. It was definitely a sucker. You're definitely supposed to suck on it, don't chew it. First, I think the name Eclairs is super fun. They also take a long time to eat. I was sucking on that for several minutes trying to get rid of it. I do think they leave that organic milk taste in your mouth, which I'm not crazy about. I'm really not used to that as an American. Most of our candy doesn't do that because our candy companies don't use organic milk. And if that's what you're used to, you probably maybe don't even realize the taste difference between organic milk and non-organic milk. But I would say it's like grassier mixed with a slight taste of barnyard is how I would describe it. It's not particularly pleasant unless you're, I guess, used to it. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think it deserves maybe a 7 out of 10. Pretty good. Definitely bonus points for creativity. I have a couple Cadbury products in this kind of packaging. This one is Cadbury Wispa Gold. So it's going to be the airy candy with a caramel center. I do think that American airy chocolate was totally ripped off of British airy chocolate because they have so many more airy chocolate options over here than we do. And it didn't appear in the US until a few years ago. And so I totally think that it originally probably came from here or maybe elsewhere in the world, but definitely not the US. I'm pretty sure we didn't invent it. Okay, so it's in more of like a candy bar form. That's quite the caramel pool. Even though I prefer the airy chocolate over the normal Cadbury chocolate bar, I think I prefer the normal caramel filled chocolate bar than the airy one. So if I had to choose between these two, I think I would go with this one. This one's good, but I don't know. I feel like it's almost like too light with the caramel, so the texture of it isn't great, and there's something about the proportion, even though you look at it and it seems like it would be really well balanced. There's something about the airiness that kind of collides with the richness of the caramel. It's not that it's bad, it's just not the best that I've had. Maybe a 6 out of 10. The other pack of candy bars I got were these Cadbury Crunchy. If you're wondering what I'm going to do with all this chocolate, I'm going to attempt to give it to the hotel staff and see if they will eat it. I was excited about this until I read what it was, and it states that it is chocolate filled with honeycomb. And if it was the honeycomb on those one bagged treats that I didn't like, then I'm probably not gonna like this. Crunchy, kind of chewy, definitely lingers in your teeth. I don't like it, but I also don't think it adds anything. It's just kind of crunchy and then coated in chocolate. I don't know, but yet it still has the kind of nougaty stickiness that like lingers in your teeth. It's unique, I'll give you that. You won't find anything like this in the US that I know of, but I'm not sure who would prefer this over other kinds of chocolate bars. Also, let me know, I don't know if I have anything here that has nuts in it. Does Cadbury not put nuts in their chocolate? Because that's the most popular thing to put with chocolate in the US. So, kind of interesting. Maybe a 4 out of 10. Could be better, could be worse. Next up, we have a Marvelous Creations. I'll be the judge of that. And it says jelly popping candy. I appreciate how unique this one is. Seems to have a lot of things in it, like jellies and also I think popping candy and sugar-coated cocoa candy in a chocolate bar form with different textures. Oh, the popping. It's like, I guess popping in my mouth. Ooh, that's so weird. It just lingers after the chocolate. Oh, do children eat this here? Is this for adults? It's too much for me. There's like too much going on. For kids in the US, I feel like it's almost like too sophisticated for them. Like this is almost like too elevated of like a chocolate and has various things going on. I don't really care for jellies, so jellies and chocolate I think is a terrible combination. The popping candy at the end is almost still going on and it's so overwhelming. Ooh, this is weird. Oh man, I don't think this is good. It's fun. 10 out of 10 for fun. Maybe a 1 out of 10 for actually something that I would want to eat. Really unique though. Next up, we have another candy bar and it's Boost. Has caramel and biscuit inside. This one's like ooey gooey. The very inside of it is almost like a fudge. Oh, I like this. This is good. The inside's fudgy. The biscuit gives it a little bit of a crunch, but not too much. And the caramel gives it a chew. Oh, this is good. This is good and also not like any candy bar that I know of. It's kind of like a Twix, but a Twix in the US is gonna be much crunchier than this is. This is more fudgy, gooey than it is crunchy. Taste is really good. The fudge makes it rich. The caramel smooths it out. And like I said, the biscuit just gives a little bit of crunch. This is one of the best things I've eaten. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's really good. 10 out of 10. It's gonna be hard to beat that last one, but let's try with the double decker. This candy bar is a fatty. It says it has nougat and crispy cereal. A slight tangent before I tell you what I think of this. My two favorite American candy bars are Milky Way and then just a Crunch bar, which has just little Rice Krispies in it. If you combined those two into one bar, like stack them on top of each other, which now I definitely have to do, you would get this. Creamy, very Milky Way-esque filling on top of really puffy, big riced cereal. This is so fun and really satisfying. Who knew that you could combine my two favorite candy bars into one? I didn't think it was possible to top the last one, but this one does it. This is like a 12 out of 10. Like, I love this. I love the idea of it. I think this is fantastic. We're winding down. So second to last today is this mix. It has all kinds of stuff. It says it's fruitier and nuttier trail mix. This has a whole bunch of stuff in it, so let's give it a try. In full transparency, I am not a trail mix girl. I'll eat granola, but the idea of a whole bunch of stuff like mixed together, I end up just picking out all of the individual items and eating them individually. So that's what I will do with this, because that's how I would normally eat it. The bag says that it is dusted with Cadbury goodness. I don't know what that means. It is dusted though. I don't know what it's dusted with, but it's kind of like a nutty hazelnut mix. It does have hazelnuts in it. Hazelnut's good. The dusting on it adds nothing but makes it just slightly grainy. But it also makes it so it doesn't stick together, which I appreciate. All the nuts and the chocolate and everything is pretty good. The cranberries are good in it. I think that this is a good mix. As melty as this Cadbury chocolate is though, you definitely couldn't take this on a trail with you, at least over in the US in the summer. It would just be chocolate covered nut goodness. I was actually just saying that they don't pair chocolate with nuts, and here's them proving me wrong, because here's chocolate with nuts. Pretty good mix. You don't a lot of times see hazelnuts in trail mix in the US. I think that's a fun surprise. The little chocolate buttons add a nice like sweetness to it. I think it's hard to rate it just because it's just nuts and chocolate. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good. Maybe a 6 out of 10. All right, the last item from Cadbury that I found at the grocery store is these mini rolls. If you're from the US, then you're going to think these look like Swiss rolls, and they definitely do. I don't like Swiss rolls. Let's hope these are better. I'm gonna say they probably are. I think Swiss rolls are kind of gross. Oh, really pleasant surprise. They're individually wrapped. Love that. These are pretty small. The packages say mini but mighty. They don't smell anything like Swiss rolls. Swiss rolls has a very like plasticky smell to them. This has an actual pure cocoa smell. It's very light. Okay, I just ate a whole bunch of candy and chocolate. But to me, a Swiss roll, if a Swiss roll was an 8 out of 10 on the sweetness scale, these are maybe a 4 out of 10 on the sweetness scale. I think the texture is better on the outside than a Swiss roll. It's not near as waxy. It's much more of a smooth bite. And the cake on the inside isn't dried out. It has like some texture, but it's not like mushy like I think a Swiss roll is. Swiss rolls do have more vanilla filling than these do, and I think these would benefit from just a little bit more vanilla filling. You don't hardly taste the vanilla filling in these, and I think they would be better with more. That being said, these are still pretty good. I think I would have been happy to have this in my lunchbox. I'd probably rate these maybe a 7 out of 10. Pretty good. That's it. We made it through all the Cadbury chocolate. Did I miss one? Let me know. I appreciate you joining me on this Cadbury taste test. Remember to subscribe for more taste tests here in the UK and beyond. If there's anything else, brands, products that you want me to taste, then make sure to leave them down in the comments. And I will be back shortly with another video. Until next time, bye!